I'm from Hong Kong, and actually, I'm still a singer. I'm also a writer. I also have a PhD in education. I'm the mother of 3 sons. I'm also the ambassador for UNICEF in Asia. And the reason why, recently a lot of schools want me to come and do some sharing with them is because they said that I got my 3 sons into Stanford. Okay, I didn't put them into Stanford. They got into Stanford, not me. So, but my friends, they were very interested. When my 3rd son got into Stanford, they said, "Wow, 3 sons into Stanford? How did you do that?" I said, "I don't know." They said, "Tell us how you taught them." And I said, "Well, I did this, I did that." And they said, "Oh, very interesting, very easy to do. And because of doing that, you got them into Stanford?" I said, "No, basically." And then they said, "You should write a book." And then a publisher came to me. Actually, I'm a writer, so actually I have a lot of books published already. But then they said, "Okay, this time you have to, really get your mind together and write down what you did." And so I did. I spent about 1 year trying to figure that out because I have to categorize them and put them into a right order and things like that. And I wrote the book, The 50 Methods. I put my 3 sons into Stanford. And that book first came out in Japan. People were very interested. It became a big hit. And so a publisher in Hong Kong, actually she's right there, Anne, she decided to put it into Chinese. So she translated that. That's Anne Lee from Sanlian, Shudian. And and then in Hong Kong, the book became such a big hit, right? In 2016, it was the best-selling book all over, among all the books. So that's the best-selling book in Hong Kong in 2016. And then it got published in China, in Taiwan, and right now it's also published in Vietnam. It will be published in Korea, and then next year in Thailand. And after that, I also published a few of the other books, and they all became bestsellers in Hong Kong. And that was because people thought that inside this book, they found a lot of things that they didn't expect. Because the title is such that I put my 3 sons into Stanford, so people thought that I'm a tiger mom. Well, I'd like to call myself an education mom, because I really put a lot of effort in trying to raise my children. I want to give them a good education. But I'm not a tiger mom, because the way that I teach my children is a little different from the tiger mom who put her two daughters into Yale or something. Oh, Yale. Not as good as Stanford. I shouldn't say that. It's as good as Stanford. Different from Stanford, okay? Well, but we're different. We're different. My mind is different because perhaps I don't use the traditional Asian way of teaching children. I'm not saying that the traditional Asian way of teaching children is not good enough. I'm just saying that there is another way. And perhaps using the other way gives you a better chance and to prepare your children for the future. It's not about tradition. It's about the future. Everything, for every parent, when we teach our children, it should be about the future. Because they're the ones who's going to live years after us. We have to prepare them for that. And that future, we actually don't know what it's going to be like. So we have to have a lot of imagination. And we also have to keep the basics of child psychology and education theory when we teach our children. That way, no matter what and how the future arrives, they will be prepared. So in my book, basically are all these basic education theories with psychological background and how we should teach our children, how I taught my children. First of all, I think we have to understand that when we become a parent, we're no longer not a parent. 说的不明白啊，就是我们是父母，就不是父母了。When you become a parent, you're a parent. You can't go back anymore. You can't go back to the single self. Like the fathers, you probably can spend every single night going out and playing with your friends or drink with your friends. Mothers, you have to spend long time cooking, looking after your children, working, talking to other parents, talking to teachers. So the life is different. Let's be prepared and enjoy that life. A lot of my friends, especially when they were younger, they would say, oh, when I was single, there's no more single you. No more single, you can't go back, you already gave birth to a child. There's no more single you. So you're a better you. You're more, how do you say that? Your life is more fulfilled because I'm not saying that single people are not fulfilled, okay? That's politically incorrect. I'm trying to encourage you, okay? So your life is fuller. You have more people in your life. You created that life. Remember that. When you first get pregnant, when you gave birth to your child, you're so excited. You're like, oh, 我看都被要死了，我真的太高兴了。他们一大了一点啊，when they start to grow, you sort of start to think, oh my God, my responsibility is so big, I can't take it, I'm so tired. I want to go to sleep, I want to be single again. You can't. You cannot. So you have to really accept that. You're a new you. Enjoy that. Embrace that. Enjoy your new life. The reason is because you're very lucky to be a parent. Many, because I'm also the ambassador of UNICEF, so I really did visited a lot of the impoverished, like, countries that in conflict, very, the poverty rate is very high, or there's a lot of problems, social problems. Those countries, I've visited a lot of them. Many women would like to have a child. Many cannot. Many mothers, they gave birth to children, but they cannot raise them because maybe there's a war, or they don't have enough food for the children, or they don't have medicine and they get sick, or they're too far away from a hospital, or whatever. So you gave birth to a child, or 2 or 3, and you're able to provide them with food, with shelter, with an education. You are very lucky already. You are the lucky ones. You really are the lucky ones. So embrace that, treasure that, be thankful of that. 我明白他们是有些时候 sometimes you get so frustrated with them, but that's a good thing because they are there. What if they're under the ground? What if somebody has snatched them away, you know? So they are there. So usually sometimes when I get very angry or when I get very frustrated, very tired, I will remember that, oh my God, that they are alive. So usually when I go and I try to wake my children up, I say, Aya, go, get up. But then I remember that no, you know, they're alive. It's a blessing. So I would go out and touch them and say, oh, it's still warm, that's good. Same thing like my husband. Sometimes I was drunk and in the morning he couldn't get up. I get frustrated, okay? But then when I touch him, oh, still breathing, that's a good thing. It's a blessing. Remember that. Having your child, having your family is a blessing. Then everything changed. Once you change your thinking, everything, you'll be thankful of everything. When we have children, I really suggest that you and your husband really sit down and talk about what kind of, you know, when they grow up, when your children grow up, what kind of a person do you want them to be? Sit down with your husband, talk about it. Now you're in international school, probably you want them to go abroad, many of you, and maybe some of them you want them to have a good English education. Whatever, talk it over. Talk about who's going to decide when you quarrel. Because I think if one person can hold the decision, it's much easier for the child. well, my husband gave it to me, so I can decide. But because he gave it to me, that's why I always ask him, because I'm thankful that he gave the decision to me. And I get very anxious. I don't want to make the wrong decision. So actually that prompted me to always talk to my husband. Some of my friends, they gave it to their husband, but their husband will always come back and talk to them. This is a good way. Get an understanding between father and mother. Because the father and mother cannot decide. Usually the child cannot decide. And they get anxious. They don't know what is right. So after doing that, what are the basics of child rearing? What are the things that I care most? First of all, I think having a high self-esteem is very important for children. Many schools right now in America say that self-esteem is overrated. No, it's not. Self-esteem is just that they didn't understand what they actually mean. Self-esteem doesn't mean that you think you're right all the time. You think very highly of yourself. Not that. Self-esteem is accepting yourself. Understand that, I am a worthy human being. I have good stuff, I have bad stuff. I can do something better than some other people, but I also need help in some other things. But that's fine, because that's me. And I accept myself, I appreciate this life, and I'm going to do the best I can. That's self-esteem. Let me explain in some, for example, gives you some examples. Children with high self-esteem. So when they see people who's better than themselves, they would say, wow, look at that. He's so good at that. Hey, look, hey, you're so good. So when people are doing well, they feel good too. They feel good for the person. And they say, oh wow, look, he's so good. So he has a lot of happiness. Because even when people are doing well, you feel happy for them. And also because his self-esteem or her self-esteem is high, she wouldn't feel that somebody is doing well, so I'm being compared, so I feel sort of like incompetent. It doesn't feel that way because he believes in himself. And so actually he can be humble. What can he do? He'll say, hey, you're doing so well. I want to do better too. Can you teach me? People with high self-esteem, they do not have to hide what they don't know. They do not have to spend a lot of time trying to pretend that they know something. When they don't know something, they are able to ask. Because they don't think that not knowing something reduces their their value. It doesn't reduce their value as a person. So they can ask. They can ask for help, and they can accept the fact that they don't know everything. We actually spend a lot of time pretending that we know a lot of things. And try not to let people know that I don't know something. For example, in a class, when I look, many of the children, if they don't know the answer, they try to like that. Children who know the answer, they go, and children with high self-esteem, they go, looking at them, looking at me, trying to find the answer. Come on, tell me, what is it, But children with the lower self-esteem, they go, don't call me, don't even look at me, because they don't want you to know that they don't know. But so you can see it in their faces. We want our children to be like, of course we want them actually to know the answer, okay? But we want our children at least to be the child who wants to say, come on, tell me, what are you waiting for? I don't know the answer, you have to tell me, We want our children to be that child, not the child who's trying to escape. Because they don't need to escape. Not knowing the right answer, not knowing the answer is a good thing. Because you find out that you have the capacity to learn. You still have lots of things to learn, and that's interesting. That makes life good. So children with high self-esteem, they're like that. They want to learn things, and so also they don't mind people knowing that they don't know something. Is that the bell? Yeah. I thought it was somebody's cell phone. Did you want to dance to them? Anyways, what else? So yes. So children with high self-esteem, they have the advantage that they can ask questions. Children who can ask questions learn the best. They have the best chances to learn more. And I tell you, teachers like children who ask questions, right? They love children who ask questions because it gives them a chance to show off. You know, the teacher can show off, see, I know you, but I know better than you know, I can teach you, you know. It gives them a chance. I'm also a teacher, so I know that. I'm very happy because I can feel that they're involved and they respect me, they ask me a question. So children who can ask questions always learn better, always learn better. So we have to give them the self-esteem. Okay, with children with lower self-esteem, what happens if somebody does better than them? They'll feel a little jealous. Not that good. Not that good. Jealousy is unproductive. Unproductive. Wasting of time. Because if you compare, there's always somebody better than you. You can never be the best. Even the best have somebody who's better than them. And there will always be somebody who's not as good as you. No matter how bad you think you are, somebody is probably even worse. So don't compare because there's no end. And don't get jealous. Or don't get arrogant because you're doing better than somebody else. Because it's useless. It's always in a spectrum. You're always in between somewhere. And the worst case, children with low self-esteem, what would they do if they find somebody's doing better than them? They'll say, oh, why is it? There must be some reason behind that, you know? Or maybe he's very rich, so he always goes to these, they have tutors and everything, so he's cheating. He must be cheating. Or for example, okay, let's try to make fun of him, try to spread rumors about him, or try to kick him, try to slap him sometimes in the back, you know. Because they're jealous, they will do some kind of negative things to get the reputation of the other person down. By doing that, they'll feel their self-esteem higher. They make them feel stronger. But we don't want our children to be like that. Because that is, again, a waste of time. If they can use that time to grow in a positive way, it's much better. Children with high self-esteem, when they see people who's weaker than them, immediately they will say, okay, let's help. Let's help the person. Because that's natural. When you look at very small children, they usually do that. Until somebody tells them, hey, 不要做，不要玩。他平常不会做的。It's natural for them. But with children who have low self-esteem, they will say, oh, this child or this student or whatever is not as good as me, different level. Oh, I can't play with that. I can't play with him. I can't play with her. This actually happens in school all the time. All the time. We are the pretty ones, or we are the fashionable ones, okay? Or we are the pretty body ones, or whatever. We are the brainy ones. So we sort of try to distinguish ourselves. Try to have some aspect that we feel better than others. This, in a way, is actually discrimination. We don't want our children to discriminate or to identify with just one thing. We want our children to love everybody. You don't have to like everybody, but you have to love everybody, okay? There's a lot of people that I don't like, but I try to love. Even President Trump. You don't like him, but I don't. I try to love him. Because we're Christians. We love everybody, okay? But we have to teach our children to do that. You don't have to like everybody. But you cannot discriminate against others or encourage discrimination. This is just against our humanity, something that we must teach our children. But if children have low self-esteem, they're prone to do that because they have to find something that they're better than some other people to boost up their self-worth. The worst scenario is they see that the child is weaker than themselves. They say, okay, let's teach them, let's bully them. From there, they get their self-worth. This is terrible, and especially if you try to bully somebody, okay? The other person also get used to it. Okay, today I slapped him on the face, he cried. Oh, it was very funny, I feel very strong, I'm happy, hey! But then the next day you come in, you slap him once, he won't cry anymore because he knew that you're going to slap him. And he has get used to it. So what do you have to do? Probably, if you want him to cry again, you have to slap him twice. And the third day, maybe you have to kick him. So it escalates. There's so much bullying in society, not only at school. Sometimes it's not physical, sometimes it's just verbal. Even among adults. Inside school, inside your workplace, in the society, in politics, and everywhere. Bullies usually have low self-esteem, or they think they're very strong, but actually they're weak because they don't really understand their self-worth. We want to let our children love themselves. There may be aspects that we don't like about ourselves, but we can try to change it. The only way for our children to really accept others is to let them accept themselves. You have to start to love yourself before you can really love others. And how do we do that? How do we give them high self-esteem? The most basic thing is to love them without 条件就是 condition, right? Unconditioned love. Unconditioned love. No condition. It's not because you got 100% this time that you're a good child. Never say that, okay? He's a good child no matter what. Even if he gets 0 on the test, he's still a good child. You don't love him less, or you don't love him more because he's a good student. You want him to be a good student, okay? Of course, I want my children to be good students too. But I tell them that I don't love you more, and I don't love you less. Whether you're a good student or not, I love you the same. So don't try to get 100% so that I love you more. It will not happen. And don't worry when you get 0 that I love you less, because that will not happen either. You're my child, I love you anyways. But it would be nice for you to get 100%. But that doesn't change my love. My basic unconditional love is always there. You can always depend on that. Tell them. Sometimes you think that I show my love, I don't have to tell them. No, tell them, because there's so many noises out there now. They have their smartphone, they have their tablet, they watch TV, they watch all these YouTube, because they're busy. Sometimes they don't notice. You have to tell them. This unconditional love doesn't change. You go out with a girl that I don't like, that doesn't mean that I don't like you anymore. You go out with a boy I don't like, it doesn't mean that I love you less. I love you the same. But if you do something wrong, I want you to change. But my love for you is always unconditional. This is the first thing. The second thing, never compare. Don't compare your child with somebody else. This is taboo. Really don't do it. If you want to compare, teach your child to compare with herself or himself. Am I a better person today than yesterday? If I want to be a better person tomorrow, what should I do today? That way, that's positive. But if you compare your child with other people, it really reduces her or his self-esteem. I was heavily compared when I was young. I am the fourth child of 6 siblings. For younger parents, that doesn't happen anymore because only older people have more children. So, and because I'm a middle child, it's sort of like my, people used to forget about me. But there's also another reason why I was heavily compared, is because the eldest is my brother, and then I have 2 sisters and me, and then 2 younger brothers. So 3 sisters together. People like to compare between the sisters, but both of my sisters are outstanding. My older sister, her face is outstanding. She's just very cute, very pretty, really very. Well, I see her every day, so I don't think she's very special, but other people think that she's very pretty. Okay, so even when she was very small, everybody thinks she's very pretty, and she actually ended up being scouted to be an actress. So she must be pretty. So that's the pretty, and she's also very funny. She's not only beautiful. Usually beautiful people is like this, right? But she's not like that. She's very funny. When she walks into the room, she starts, talking like a comedian. Everybody loves her. So that's one sister like that. And the other sister, my second sister, is she's very brainy. She's very intelligent. So she was like the first in her class, starting from grade 1. And she got into the medical school in Hong Kong University, just like that. And when she graduated, the local newspaper wrote about her because she was the first female medical student to graduate as number 1 in that university. See, they go, wow. See, that's the expression she gets every time. Wow. And then my older sister too, everybody's like, wow, wow. And then when they see me, they say, hey, what happened to Agnes? The older sister's pretty and lovely. The second sister's brainy and smart. What happened to her? They always ask my mother that. And then every time my mother will apologize and say, yeah, I know. When I was pregnant with Agnes, the condition in our home is not so good, so maybe I didn't have enough to eat. What an answer, right? Not only that I'm self-conscious, I really thought that I was like a bad product or something. So I was very shy. In child psychology, we say that children who's compared a lot, some of them will turn into quite aggressive. But many of the children, because they have low self-worth, they will be very shy or be very quiet because they try to hide. What's bad about that? The negative part is that because I'm very shy, I don't really try to find out what's good about myself. I always look at people and see how good they are and how not good, so good I am. Well, there's another way too. There's people with low self-esteem, sometimes they would try to find out what's bad about other people, and then they feel better. But I was the type that's like, I'm no good type. And if a child thinks like that, the worst part is that although probably I do have a lot of potentials, but I won't show people anymore. And if I don't show people, I forget, because I'm still a child. If that happens to your child, that's a disgrace, because you've given them, or God has given them, a lot of potentials when they were born. But because they're shy, because they don't feel good about themselves, they forget about them. So by comparing too heavily, or put them too much pressure on them, we actually destroy many of their potentials. But I had a very good chance because in junior high, I joined Legion of Mary. We have like groups, voluntary groups, because it's a Catholic school. I went to a Catholic school too. And so when I started to do voluntary work, and back then we called it charity work, and I met with a lot of children in Hong Kong that's not as fortunate as myself. And I changed. They don't compare me, and when I go in, I don't know, they just changed. And I remember my first assignment was to go with another person in the group, basically another sister. And so we went there, and they told me that is physically challenged place with the children, physically challenged. And when I went there, we walked in, and the nurses came out, and they say, "Oh, the sisters are there." They call us sisters. The sisters are there, and the children started to come up, and children with no legs, they would use this little, I don't know whether you call it a little piece of wood to put it under the bodies, and they use their hands as if they're swimming on the ground to come. And children with no hands, they would use their shoulders to balance to come. And some of the children had no legs and no hands, they'd be on sort of like a bed. And children with no arms who used a little valley and pushed their friends to come out. And like 1 minute or two, 40 children were around me. I was so shocked. I just stood there like a piece of wood. And then my partner says, "What are you crying about? Stop that. Say something." And then I found out I was like crying, so I brushed off my tears, and I said hello. Nobody clapped. Later on I understand that because they don't have hands, so they couldn't clap. But what they did was they goes, "Rah!" Used their voice to welcome me. And I think that after I heard that, my life changed. Because I was always thinking about myself. But actually there's a lot of other people around me that I've never seen. Because the reason is because I'm so concerned about myself, my unfortunate, being in the tummy of a pregnant person who doesn't have enough to eat. So I was always thought that I'm the unfortunate ones. No way. There's so many people that's trying so hard, like children, with so much handicap, so much unfortunate things happening in their lives, but they're still trying so hard. I really felt very ashamed. And after that, through voluntary work, I met with children with no parents, children who are sick, children who have done criminal acts and they were put into a jail. Children who came from China, who doesn't have parents or places to live, basically street children. And so after that, it really changed my life because I found out that the more you think about yourself, your energy will go inside. You get overwhelmed. You felt that you can't breathe. You felt that you're really drowning. But it's not true. If you use that energy for somebody else, you would have spaces in your heart, in your life, to enjoy life, to see things. And you'll feel so much better. That's what charity work taught me. When you feel bad, don't think about yourself. And don't punish yourself. When you feel bad, stop that. Forget about whatever you're so concerned about. Start looking around. See what you can do for others. And if you start to do that, your energy starts to go out. And you'll have spaces for yourself. And you can understand. And especially when you start to do something that you can, no matter how small that thing is, if you take the first step, the scenery changes. And you can see new opportunities, a way out. So even I became an adult, I always use this strategy when I'm pressured, when I feel that I'm drowning, when I feel that I have too much on my hands. I try to use this strategy, it always saves me. That's how I changed. That's how my self-esteem went up. And actually after that, because I started to sing to collect food for children, I got scouted and I started to sing in Hong Kong when I was 14. It's a long time ago.
And the first song that I sang was called Circle Game. It's a cover version of Johnny Mitchell's song, and it became a big hit in Hong Kong. It was suddenly one day I woke up and I became a singer. It was such a shock to me, but that's what I mean. There's something good in me that I didn't know. That was singing and playing with children. I'm really good with that. So they told me today I was going to meet students. I thought I'm going to meet primary students. I'm going to meet high school students. Not that I don't like high school students, but I was looking forward to seeing, small children, because I'm really good at playing with small children. And that actually really gave me a lot of confidence. Just this one thing, that I'm good with playing with small children. They like me and I like them. Maybe my mentality is close. Mental age is close or whatever. But that gave me so much confidence. It changed my whole life. So I don't know what is your child's potential is, but believe in that. Let them believe in that too. And that will lead them to a life that they love. Just because I love playing with children, I'm now the ambassador for UNICEF. So it really can lead you to a different life. So I've only spoken about one thing, okay, that's self-esteem. And the other one that I think is important, especially in an international school environment, is identity education. Teach your child to know him or herself. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? Keep asking these 3 questions. But who am I is a very loaded question. Okay. Knowing who am I means you have to understand and the groups that you belong to.